One of the most brought up conversations in the Jump Force community is the roster. Which characters are viable for the main roster? Which ones aren't? Obviously, the roster is currently limited to Weekly Shonen Jump characters, but another part of the conversation is the character old enough? The age of the character and the franchise comes up for two different reasons. One reason is that there's a slightly elitist part of the community that thinks older franchises that have quote-unquote paid their dues, should be the ones that make it to the roster. I think this is a slightly silly mentality. I think the people that are on the roster, or the franchises that are on the roster, should be the ones that draw in the most people possible, because I want as many as people playing this game as possible. That's always been my first objective whenever I talk about the game publicly. I'm always trying to increase the amount of people who would be interested in the game. And if that means we don't get some of the older characters that people are less interested in, then I'm okay with that. The other reason the age of the franchise, or how old the franchise is, comes up is because each of these characters that they put in the game requires development time. And on top of that, each of these characters on the main roster will likely have to be written into the main story. Honestly, the main reason this gets brought up is because of My Hero Academia and Black Clover, because both of them have been accused of being quote-unquote too new to join the Jump Force roster. But clearly that's not the case for Black Clover, because after all, Asta was recently announced. With that in mind, does that mean Dr. Stone could also make the cut? A relatively new manga franchise. I really can't say that I know much about Dr. Stone, but I can certainly say the aesthetic of the manga certainly fits the Jump Force world. However, sadly, I don't think it will ever or can ever make the cut. Black Clover, the newest franchise to join the Jump Force roster, started their run all the way back in early 2015, giving them more than enough time to become popular enough and have a large enough source material to pull from, and they made the cut. My Hero Academia started their run back in mid-2014, giving them even more time than Black Clover had. Hence why I'm very sure My Hero Academia will be represented on the main roster. Before I was fairly sure. Now I'm at 99.9999% sure. Like, I'm as sure as you can be without a reveal happening. However, sadly, Dr. Stone is like new. Is very new. Dr. Stone started its initial run back in March 2017. At this stage, Jump Force would have been deep into development, like near done. Well, not near done, but they had less than 2 years left before the release of the game by this point. But that's a lot of time, right? They could have that time to be able to put Dr. Stone in the game. But that was just the beginning of Dr. Stone's run. Dr. Stone really hasn't been given a chance. They haven't had a long enough time to build up a big source material. They haven't had a long enough time to be given mainstream success. I'm pretty sure if you talk to most people, they're not going to know what Dr. Stone is. Dr. Stone hasn't even received its own anime yet, although I will imagine it will be getting one fairly soon. So it hasn't really been given a chance to succeed in the West, which is what I think is pretty important for the Jump Force roster, right? Because Japan is just one small section of the world. It's possible Dr. Stone could be added as DLC alongside with an announcement for its anime, and I actually really hope that does happen because it would get me excited about the Dr. Stone anime. But I would be willing to bet money that I don't even have to say that Dr. Stone will not be on this main roster. It's just too soon, and that's not to say I don't want him on the main roster. I would love to see a Dr. Stone character or two, but I don't think it's gonna happen. It just doesn't seem very likely to me, and it would be a genuinely amazing surprise. I'm not holding my breath for it, though. Let me know in the comment section whether you think Dr. Stone's going to have a chance to show up on the Jump Force main roster, or you think he's got a chance for DLC, or if you just think the franchise has no chance of showing up at all. My name has been Bilbzy. If you enjoyed the video at all, leaving a like on it helps other people find it. Subscribe to keep up to date with future content. Remember to hit that bell, or else YouTube will not notify you. And I will see you in the next video.